Japan's military history took a major turn in the early 1900s when they revolutionized naval warfare with the world's first aircraft carrier. But everything changed when they stepped back from military power and embraced peace. That peace lasted for decades, but now the tides are shifting. With China growing more aggressive, Japan has rebuilt its navy. Thanks to a $4.9 trillion economy, they've developed high-tech aircraft carriers loaded with advanced fighter jets. The message to China is clear. Japan is ready to defend itself. But how does Japan's navy stack up against China's expanding fleet? And what does this mean for the Pacific's future? Join us as we explore Japan's new aircraft carriers and the hidden message they send to rival nations. Back in 1922, Japan forever changed naval warfare by building the Hasho, the world's first aircraft carrier. This wasn't just a showpiece, it was a testing ground. Japanese engineers used it to master carrier operations, takeoffs, landings, and ship aircraft coordination. The Hasho proved carriers were the key to naval dominance, and Japan went all in, building the Akagi, Kaga, Soryu, Hiryu, Shokaku, Zuikaku, Taiho, and Unryu. Each new carrier was bigger and more powerful, showcasing Japan's naval strength. But it didn't last. The Unryu was sunk in 1944, and a year later, atomic bombs on Hiroshima and Nagasaki ended World War II. Japan made a drastic shift, becoming a peaceful nation with no offensive weapons, meaning no long-range missiles, nukes, or aircraft carriers. They could only have defensive weapons. Yet Japan found a clever workaround. They built two massive helicopter carriers, larger than Italy's, that many suspected were aircraft carriers in disguise. Now, there's no more doubt. As China grows more aggressive, Japan has officially converted them into full-fledged carriers. These Izumo-class ships, Izumo and Kaga, joined a fleet in 2015 and 2017. Weighing 27,000 tons and originally designed to carry 28 helicopters, their true potential is in their design. They were built for easy conversion into full aircraft carriers. Japan calls them helicopter carriers, but they're essentially aircraft carriers in waiting. Let's break down the debate. A helicopter carrier is a type of aircraft carrier designed mainly for helicopters. It features a large flat deck for takeoff and landing, either spanning the whole ship, like the Royal Navy's Ocean, or just the rear, as seen in the Soviet Moskva class and China's Type 811A. Most also have a hangar below for storage and maintenance. Defining a pure helicopter carrier is tricky today. With the arrival of vertical takeoff jets like the Harrier and F-35, ships once classified as helicopter carriers now operate fixed-wing aircraft too. The U.S. Navy's Wasp class, for example, carries 6 to 8 Harriers plus over 20 helicopters. Smaller ships that can't support these jets are the only true helicopter carriers now. Many modern ones are instead called light aircraft carriers. Some, like the Wasp class, also transport troops, earning the title Landing Helicopter Dock, LHD. Full aircraft carriers, on the other hand, are floating air bases capable of launching missions far from home. From wooden ships carrying observation balloons in the early 1900s, they've evolved into massive nuclear-powered vessels carrying 40 to 60 aircraft, including fighter jets, attack planes, and early warning aircraft. Now, back to Japan. The Kaga is a key ship in Japan's navy, officially called a multi-purpose operation destroyer. It follows its sister ship, Izumo, and is named after an old Japanese province, now part of Ishikawa. Built at Japan Marine United's Yokohama shipyard, its construction began in 2013, launching in 2015 and entering service in 2017. With a flight deck supporting 5 simultaneous helicopter operations, the Kaga resembles U.S. ships like the Wasp and America class. Experts noticed early on that Japan's new helicopter destroyers seemed capable of more than just helicopters. Speculation grew. Could they launch fighter jets like the V-22 Osprey or F-35? Japan planned to upgrade the Kaga and Amo to carry the F-35B, a fighter that takes off and lands vertically. Work began in 2022 and will take 5 years per ship. The Kaga's modifications, including a reshaped bow, will be more extensive and costly than its sister ship. The first phase wrapped up in early 2024. In 2019, Prime Minister Shinzo Abe approved a 26.2 trillion yen, $238.22 billion, defense budget to upgrade both ships and buy 147 F-35s. Japan's Air Self-Defense Force aims to acquire 42 F-35Bs, with 18 arriving by 2023, 6 in 2024, and 2 in 2025. Defense Minister New Oishi selected Nutabaro Air Base in Kyushu to host them, due to its proximity to Okinawa and Kaga's base in Hiroshima Prefecture. Kaga, Japan's largest maritime self-defense force ship, is 814 feet, 248 meters, long and weighs 27,000 tons. It's a light carrier, comparable to Italy's Cavour, but far smaller than U.S. supercarriers like the USS George H.W. Bush, which spans 1,092 feet, 333 meters, and weighs over 100,000 tons. Kaga is armed with 2 phalanx and 2 CMM close-in weapon systems. In 2018, Kaga sailed through the South China Sea and Indian Ocean during the Indo-Southeast Asia deployment exercise, making stops in key nations. Donald Trump visited Japan and boarded Kaga in Yokosuka, where he criticized U.S. allies for underfunding their militaries while praising Japan's purchase of American equipment. Now let's look at Kaga's sister ship Izumo. Built in 2011 at IHI Marine United's Yokohama yard with a budget of 113.9 billion yen, $1.5 billion. The Izumo-class ships replace the retiring Shin-class destroyers. Izumo can carry up to 28 aircraft, though that number drops to 14 for larger ones. Current plans equip it with 7 anti-submarine warfare helicopters and 2 search and rescue helicopters. It can also transport 400 troops and 53 trucks. The flight deck allows 5 helicopters to operate at once. In 2010, defense analysts noticed unusual design features hinting at Izumo-class ships being capable of more than just helicopter operations. However, Japan's Ministry of Defense remained silent on their true potential. Without a ski jump ramp or catapult system, they can only operate short takeoff and vertical landing aircraft. While Japan initially purchased standard F-35 Lightning II jets, they have since considered additional aircraft for these vessels. The F-35B can take off in short distances and land vertically, making it ideal for modified Izumo-class ships. In December 2018, Japan announced plans to update its defense strategy and purchase 42 F-35B fighters for the Izumo. The Izumo class serves as a multi-purpose destroyer. When empty, it weighs 19,950 metric tons, 26,000 long tons. It measures 248 meters, 814 feet, in length with a 38-meter, 125-foot beam. Standing 23.5 meters, 77 feet, tall, it has a draft of 7.5 meters, 25 feet. Powered by a Kagag system with 2 shafts and 4G IHI LM2500 IC gas turbines, the Izumo exceeds speeds of 30 knots, 56 kilometers per hour or 35 miles per hour. It accommodates 970 personnel, including crew and troops. Equipped with the OYQ 12 Combat Direction System and FCS 3 Fire Control System, it features an OPS 50 ASA radar, OPS 28 Surface Search Radar, and OQQ 23B sonar for underwater detection. Its electronic warfare systems include the NLQ 3D1 Suite, Mark 36 SR BOC countermeasures, anti-torpedo decoys, and floating acoustic jammers. For defense, The Izumo carries 2 phalanx and 2 ram close-in weapon systems. It typically operates 7 anti-submarine helicopters and 2 search and rescue helicopters, but can hold up to 28 jets. Commissioned in March 2015 at Yokosuka Port, the Izumo quickly became operational. By August, it joined the Coast Guard ship Aizu in a large-scale emergency drill in Tokyo, serving as a medical hub. In May 2017, it made headlines by escorting the U.S. supply ship Richard Byrd near Japan, marking the first time Japan protected a U.S. vessel since revising its military laws in 2016. However, this decision sparked protests, with critics arguing it clashed with Japan's defensive military policy. This event signified Japan's growing military role and closer collaboration with U.S. forces. In September 2021, the Izumo trained with the British carrier Queen Elizabeth in the Pacific. The following month, it reached a new milestone when U.S. Marine Corps F-35B fighters landed on its deck for the first time. On May 31, 2022, Japan's Navy announced that the Izumo would join RIMPAC 2022 alongside 2 other Japanese ships, the destroyers Takanami and Kurami. As of January 2025, around 50 aircraft carriers serve across 15 navies worldwide. The U.S. operates 11 nuclear-powered fleet carriers with catapults, each holding about 80 fighter jets. Their combined deck space is more than double that of all other nations. China, Britain, and India each have 2 carriers with ski-jump decks. China is also building a 3rd carrier with catapults. Similar to the U.S., France, and Russia operate 1 carrier each, capable of handling 30 to 60 jets. Italy has 2 smaller carriers for vertical takeoff planes, while Spain and Turkey each have 1 ship designed for both aircraft and troops. So, what makes aircraft carriers so special? Speed and size. These floating cities can move at over 35 miles per hour, fast enough to reach key locations quickly and generate extra wind over the deck, helping jets take off. This is crucial for ships like Japan's Kaga and Izumo. Size is just as important. Massive carriers like the USS Ronald Reagan or France's Charles de Gaulle need vast decks for takeoff, landing, and storage. Japan's Izumo and Kaga are prime examples of carrier evolution. They started as helicopter carriers, but are now being upgraded to handle fighter jets, sending a clear message to China and beyond. Why does this matter so much to China? Japan protecting U.S. ships near China is a bold statement. China sees itself as Asia's dominant power and has long criticized Japan's military moves. Watching Japan's largest warship operate alongside U.S. forces was alarming, as it signaled a shift away from Japan's defense-only policy. Even more concerning for China was the growing military cooperation between Japan and the U.S., directly challenging its influence. China was already dealing with American ships in the region, but Japan joining in doubled their concerns. This pressure accelerated China's naval expansion, particularly its aircraft carrier program. With 3 carriers already and more in the works, China is racing to keep up. Now, the Pacific is a high-stakes chessboard. But this isn't just about warships. It's about a changing Asia, where old rivals are choosing sides and strengthening alliances. Japan, once firmly committed to pacifism, now stands alongside the U.S. in an evolving military landscape. China, seeing all this unfold, pushes harder to dominate the region. What began with Japan calling aircraft carriers helicopter carriers has grown into something much bigger. It has shaped naval strategies, alliances, and displays of power in the Pacific. As these nations watch each other across the waves, one thing is clear: the balance of power in Asia isn't just shifting, it has already changed. Thanks for watching. Before you go, click the link on your screen to check out another video. See you there.